How we doing, America? Sorry I haven't been around in a couple of days, but we're getting close to Christmas, and I do a thing that people order the stuff that I do for Christmas presents. So I've been busy. But I haven't been so busy that I haven't been paying attention. And you know that's true. There's never going to be a time when I don't pay attention. Well, maybe there'll be a time when I don't pay attention, but as long as I'm still breathing and still relatively cognitive, I will be paying attention. And I have been. And kind of got one thing to say about it. I got to see where that is right there. It's about 7 seconds in. Because this is one of my all-time favorite lines ever spoken in a movie, and it seems so very apropos.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Let's try that again.
You keep using...
Had to hang up on an idiot.
Unbelievable. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Any fan of The Princess Bride knows who said that. And they know why that was said. Because everything was inconceivable. And he was right. Every time that he said it. Probably not the right word. We've got that going on right now. We've got it going on in a manner that is spooky. It's something to be concerned with. I want to talk about that in just a minute. Before I get there, though, I want to talk a little bit about running into the same wall of stupid over and over and over again. What I'm going to tell you is, come January 20th, we're going to run into that wall again. And I am going to reiterate a thing that was posted to my timeline. Deb, I can't remember her last name, Italian last name, and she's got some pretty good things to say. But she brought up a point, and I want to make that point just as strongly. And that is, come January 20th, there will be an inauguration. As much as that makes us sick, there will be an inauguration. But let's think about who that person is. And let's think about what we can do and how we can deal with that. You know how we can deal with it? Ignore it. Completely fucking ignore it. The man's a narcissist. He lives off of ratings. Don't give him any. Don't turn it on CNN and MSNBC, any of those things. Especially, don't go to the internet. Don't stream it live. Ignore it. Watch it the next day if you really simply have that morbid curiosity. If like so many Americans, you can't look away from a good train wreck. Look at it the next day. Don't give him the justification, because you know what he's going to turn that into. He's going to assume that by having big numbers looking at him on TV, like a reality TV star. By the way, the Kardashians have been around for 20 fucking years. I've never once watched them, but they've been around for 20 years. That's our country. They love their tailgate parties. They love their train wrecks. Don't give it to him. Fuck that bullshit. Why should we justify this? Why should we help to justify this? Let him lie about it later on, and then we'll find out from Nielsen and other places. Let's turn this into the lowest rated inauguration ever. Because he didn't set a mandate. I don't know exactly how he won the election. I really don't. Still surprises the shit out of me. But he didn't set a mandate. His election victory that he calls a landslide, when you look at the real numbers, it wasn't a landslide. In fact, it ranks 5th in the last 100 years as far as elections and the supposed mandate when we look at the numbers. Fifth in 100 years. There's no mandate there. There was no landslide. But he keeps talking about things, and he keeps using a word. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. That's simple. The word is tariffs. And unfortunately, his sycophants are too dumb to understand Nancy. Hello. And I'm just going to leave it at that. His sycophants are just too dumb to understand tariffs aren't going to do a damn thing but hurt us. That's all they have ever done. Every economist in the world says so. I want to go over this a little bit point by point because their delusion is a little bit painful. Does it occur to them ever once that supply and demand rule the market? Now, let's think about supply and demand and what that's going to do. What they believe is that it'll make businesses either buy American or lose business because they have to increase their prices because they've added tariffs. Well, increasing their prices is probably a reality if they add the tariffs that he's talking about. If. Now, that's a big if because he's chicken shit. He might do it to pound his chest for a minute, but then he's going to realize just how fucking stupid it is. And I can guarantee you, Trumpers, you're going to realize just how fucking stupid it is. And you're going to realize it in a very painful way. But supply and demand do control the market. Now, thinking about that, okay, you find American suppliers. Good for you. And I'm all for that. But there is a little problem with that. Do you have any clue how much we actually import and what the balance is as far as trade? How much of our economy relies on imports? And now we're thinking about doing something that's going to upset that apple cart. Okay. First of all, I don't know anybody that isn't all for buying American, or if you really want to put it into genuine terms, all for American manufacturing. I know I am, and I know you are. And, well, we should be. We are proud of our nation. We are proud of what we're capable of. But when you buy American, and everybody has experienced this, when you see made in America, especially when you see it and then look into it and say, is this really manufactured here? Whatever that thing is, it's a little more expensive. It just is. That's a reality. It's more expensive. So what happened there? We look at better pricing all of a sudden, and we find that that better pricing oftentimes comes from China, Canada, Mexico, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and all of them have been worthy trading partners. The Chinese, a little bit hinky. I agree with that. But, you know what? We've done pretty well with them. There's a lot to unpack there, though. Their stuff is a lot cheaper. That's why we import so much of it. Now, a couple of the places that I mentioned there have got some pretty heinous labor laws. So, their stuff is a lot cheaper. We as Americans don't quite do it that way. But Now their stuff is cheaper, and we Americans buy it, but now we're going to add a tariff so that the importers, and let's be very clear on that, tariffs in this country are not paid by the exporter selling to us. They are paid by the importer. That is a fact. And that's the one that keeps being overlooked. And that's why, when we have tariffs, you pay them. It's not paid by the seller. It's paid by the importer. And they are going to pass that on to the end buyer. Who's that? That's you and I. We're going to pay that tariff. It's that simple. Now, we already have the reality that American-made things are a little more costly. They're a lot, they're harder to make. That's a part of what makes them more expensive. They're more expensive because it is more expensive to make them here. That's all those terrible regulations. We need to knock off those goddamn regulations. Look up PFAS chemicals and then tell me the regulations we're supposed to knock off. But we have American-made things that are more expensive, without a doubt. And they're made more expensive because we don't have 7-year-olds working in our factories yet. Women aren't actually chained to a sewing machine. Most of our factories, are relatively safe because of OSHA standards. We don't have all that in China, don't have that in Sri Lanka, don't have that in Vietnam. What we do have, cheaper goods. And America decided a long time ago. You remember back when we had people that repaired television sets. We had people that repaired toasters. We had people that repaired blenders. We had people that repaired mixers and stoves. Those are gone. Those industries are gone. I mean, there's still a handful of people out there, and there are people like myself who just can't pass up a good chance to do it yourself. But those industries are gone because we insisted on cheaper goods, and we got them. Well, those cheaper goods don't last. Try to find somebody to fix your toaster now. Want to really have some fun? Try to find somebody to fix your TV set. You're not. You're going to buy another one. Yeah, the stuff we get, it's not as good. It's nowhere near as good as what Made in America was. But that started happening in the 50s. We're now 75 years later. So we're going to throw on tariffs. And that's going to make everybody come back to America. If you think that's going to happen in 4 years, wow, you're fucking stupid. Because it's not. We have seen an increase under Joe Biden. By the way, we didn't see it under Trump. We saw a net negative under Trump. But we've seen an increase. But it's not substantial. It's not huge. But we have these things that cost a lot more that for us to make. And that all by itself really isn't the big problem with all of this. Okay, the tariffs, let's assume the tariffs work, all right? Forces retailers to buy from American manufacturers. I get it. And what that's going to do is if it were to work, it won't. But if it were to work, it's going to force these retailers to find American manufacturers, have this produced domestically, and they will, they'll have to buy it. It's going to be more costly. But we have another problem with all of that. The other problem with all of that is that we're going to have a problem on the supply side. We won't have a problem on the demand side, except for the higher prices. But all of a sudden now, we've got this need to buy American because there's tariffs on everything else. So we turn to the American manufacturers. That's going to be a bit of an issue. Because we still want these products, but they've got to be at a price that Americans will accept. They've got to be at a price that doesn't double the cost of getting. So these manufacturers now are going to have more demand. That means they're going to have to ramp up their employment. Okay, so far that all sounds pretty good, right? I'm going to put Americans to work. I hate to tell you this, folks. Americans are working. We have some of the lowest unemployment we've seen in decades. So they're already working. And anybody who has had to try to hire people at below market wages understands this. Anytime you get around 4% or less, you got a fucking problem finding people. But we got to ramp up this production. We got to make these things here with our own workers. With that unemployment rate, however, that's going to be hard. Who's going to fill these jobs that are going to be at a rate the manufacturer can afford? The big reason for adding these tariffs on these nations, especially Canada and Mexico, we've got to do something about these illegal immigrants crossing. We've got to do something about these foreigners in our country. We're going to impose tariffs on you, and we're not going to buy your goods. Couple of problems there. First of all, if we do that to them, take a look at how much we buy from them. Do you think they're not going to do that to us? Again, we have a thing that raises the prices. Oh, but that's going to make people so that we don't have immigrants here. It's going to make it so that we don't have these terrible criminals and everything else. There's going to be, though, another thing that comes from that. The problem here is that the people they want to keep out, well, they might keep them out. But they're also going to keep out those hard-working people that really are just coming here to better themselves and find a better way of life. That's what's going to happen with that. Now you've got a need for more workers in American factories because we've thrown on tariffs. We've done that to keep the immigrants the hell out of this country, keep those brown people away from us. We don't want them here. Yeah, but they're doing these below normal wage jobs. They're the ones that are taking these jobs. I don't remember the last time I heard somebody bitching about, well, God damn it, I lost my job picking fruit. I lost it to a damn Mexican. God damn it, I lost my job to some Chinese guy moved in here and I can't clean the sewer no more. You ever remember hearing that? I don't remember hearing that. But we're going to do this. We're going to lower what we have as available workforce by keeping them out. And that's going to somehow make us better. At the same time, we're going to end up with higher prices. But there is another thing to consider in all of that. When the companies we set tariffs on stop selling to us because, okay, nobody wants to pay that. We're going to make that here in America. Well, they're going to find new customers. So what do we got now? We still have a supply problem. This is just common sense, folks. This is not some big sorted out issue. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. goes a little beyond that with the Trumpers, though. They believe stupid shit. Stupid shit. They believe that somehow we are going to be made great again by being forced to buy American, and we won't have that cheap Chinese shit filling our landfills. We're still going to have that shit filling our landfills. And the people saying that, I kind of like to look at their trash and say, wait a minute, that came from Sri Lanka. Oh, wait a minute, that came from Mexico. Wait a minute, this fucking big huge pile came from China. By the way, we got no fruit and vegetables because we don't have anybody to pick them. But they can't see that. Stupid. Nancy, you know why I just brought that up. None of that I talked about is going to bring costs down. It's going to raise them. His ideas don't work. It takes more than that. It requires that Americans get the fuck off of the Kardashians and The Apprentice and whatever is the latest. Oh, look at this reality TV. It's not reality, first of all. It's scripted badly. But until we walk away from that, until we walk away from this level of stupidity, until we stop saying that anybody that speaks out against it is just fear-mongering, we're doomed. America has to wake up. They have to realize that his policies, his choices are terrible for us. Oh, well, it's going to be what it's going to be. He was elected. Legitimately, I guess. But he was elected on this bullshit. And they're sucking it up with a straw, people. I'm just going to say this very clearly. I have Republican friends. I love them. They are really, truly friends. I don't have any MAGA friends anymore. I really don't. And if they prove to be that, the first thing I'm going to say that to them is, look, this is not a difference in our politics. This is a difference in our morality. And between the two, I am going to choose my morality over that every fucking time. I want to take that one little step further before I close this thing. As far as that statement, it's proven out because today, once again, we've had yet another one. Now, Matt Gaetz dropping out, who didn't see that coming? I did a whole fucking live on that. I got a problem with it now, though. I ain't got no hair to make it fit properly. It comes down way too damn low. Thanks, Greg.
You can put it on top of your volume.
Well, yeah, we ain't doing that. But let's back up to this. Matt Gaetz stepped out. Well, today, the guy that I don't even remember his fucking name, some sheriff down in Florida, deep MAGA, dropped out that was going to be the head of the DEA. Because these people aren't qualified. Who hasn't dropped out yet is Pete Hegseth. And he should. Every day, more and more and more comes out. And then I get hit. And again, this is the morality difference. Well, it wasn't me. It was somebody else. It was another one of the Blue Dots. On their post, they brought up a thing about Pete Hegseth being such a bad choice and of so low moral character. And by the way, now the people at Fox News are coming out and saying, yeah, we were really concerned about how much of a fucking drunk he was, too. But has been accused of all kinds of shit that has pretty solid proof. And by the way, paying him off Yeah, that's pretty solid proof. But Hegseth hasn't dropped out yet. He damn well should. But this gets to what I said before. You think these tariffs are going to work. We disagree there completely. And we disagree there because I got the fucking receipts to show it, people, and all you got to do is spend a little bit of time to find that out. That's bullshit. But it goes much deeper than that. That kind of feels political. This is no longer about politics. This is about morality. And if you are following him, if you think that somehow this man is the savior of this nation, I don't know what morality you have, but you probably ought to give it back because you stole it. It's that simple. We got to stay strong, people. First place we got to stay strong is January 20th. We got to keep fighting back like this. But January 20th, fuck that guy. Fuck his damn inauguration. Fuck his ratings. Simple enough? All right. Listen to me, people. Please listen to me. We've got to back this thing down. We can stand. We can make that happen. We didn't make it happen back in November. We'll make it happen over the course of the next couple of years. Ain't gonna be a quick fight. Gonna be a hell of a fight. But we gotta keep fighting this fight. Because it's not about politics. It's about who you are. What is your moral north? I know what mine is, and it goddamn sure ain't MAGA. All right, America, I love you. Share this shit.